So The Hole in the Ground is a psychological horror movie about a young single mother, and her 8-year-old son, and they have moved to a new home, leaving a little bit of a dark past behind. And in this new place that they live, they discover this enormous sinkhole in the earth near their house. And after that discovery, things start to change in their relationship, and the mother starts to wonder if her son's identity has been altered or changed somehow because of this sinkhole. So it's kind of a psychological mystery, but that also brings in some other more terrifying elements to it as well. I'd written the character quite a bit older, and I'd probably written her in a little bit more of a stock horror mother way than the character ended up. And I'd missed a date for Mad Mary. I was living abroad at the time, and I just hadn't had a chance to catch it. And we had done a list, and Shauna wasn't on that list because we were casting to a different kind of demographic, I suppose, for want of a better description. And it was my producer, I'd always give credit to him, he said, take a look at Shauna, take a look at Mad Mary. And my initial response was, but she doesn't fit the bill at all. He was like, watch it. And I watched it, and I called, like within minutes of finishing the film, I called up and said, like, let's have a meeting with Shauna. And I met her, we had a coffee. She'd read the screenplay, we had a coffee, we talked about the character. And by that evening, I'd said, tear up that list and offer her the role, and that was it. So there was no traditional audition process, there was no taping. It was just a conversation and a sense of understanding what she could bring to the role, which was the right choice, I think. My influences in horror were shaped at a very young age. I'm the youngest in my family by the guts of a decade. So I saw at 8 or 9, when they were all like 15, 16, 17, I saw stuff I shouldn't have seen. And The Shining I saw at 8 years old, and it's had a major impact on me as a filmmaker. And you know, I'm quite proud of my influences and how I will use them and kind of twist and distort them. I think in anything, in music and in film, people are always leaning on their influences, and then it's how you adapt them or use them in certain ways. So yeah, and I'm also, as a child of Spielberg, so I take a lot of lead in terms of that kind of technical filmmaking. What I like about Irish myth and folklore is that you can you can dip in as opposed to necessarily having to fully take a story. I wasn't looking to try and define the changeling myth. I was actually just looking to lean into certain areas of Irish folklore and bring them into a kind of contemporary space and use them as part of the story. And I think that is something that is great about, you know, Irish myth and legend, is that there's lots of versions of stories, and sometimes they're quite poetic. They're not even necessarily a story, it's just an idea or a theme or something like that. So it's nice to be able to do that, but also to modernize it a little too. I think it's fresh, actually, in a lot of ways, and it hasn't been fully defined yet what it can be. So I think it's a really interesting time, because there's filmmakers that I probably grew up on a similar diet of movies that I did, or at least, you know, within the same kind of space, and those influences seem to be feeding their way through now. I think there's a dark heart in Ireland that we can mine in these kind of stories as well. Like, you know, I think for an outsider, you know, there's that aspect of Ireland being fun and games, which it is, but there's also those kind of darker tales, and, you know, there's kind of the even from the folklore through to, you know, even some kind of contemporary horrors that exist in our society. So I think it's really, really just really fertile territory, and I don't think I'm the only one that's tapping into it. I think that there's a number of people coming through, so I'm intrigued actually to see what comes with it, really intrigued.